If I asked you about the Manhattan Skyport, you'd probably think of some futuristic gas station with robot attendants and flying cars. But actually, the Manhattan Skyport was built back in 1936 and became an official seaplane base in 1946. Back then, traveling by some sort of amphibious aircraft like a flying boat or a float plane, yes, they are different, was a lot more common. In fact, there were seaplane bases across the country, including Boston, Philadelphia, Miami, Seattle, and more. But over time, this sort of travel phased out, forcing these seaplane bases to shut down. Actually, that's not true. In fact, there's still a fully operational one on the East River, though it's more commonly referred to as NYS nowadays, or one of New York's best kept secrets by those who know about it. And seaplanes seem like a pretty great alternative when you consider how we normally fly. Think about it, you need to hop in a car, fight traffic, get to the airport, go through security, hope your flight leaves on time, fly, wait at baggage claim, then get in another car to take you to wherever you're staying. Tailwind seaplanes take off right from Manhattan and can take you to any number of destinations across New York. They're also the only seaplane that offers service to and from Boston, so if you need to get to New York quickly for a business meeting, it's no problem. Suddenly, what could take an entire day can now take as little as an hour. And no matter where you're going, Tailwind offers amazing views of Manhattan and Boston Harbor, the kind of views you would normally only see on movie screens. So the next time you're flying between Boston and New York, or if you're just looking for a quick getaway, consider flying the fast lane with Tailwind. You'll save a lot of time and frustration. Plus, who knows where we'll go in the future? After all, Tailwind is only beginning to take off.
Aloha and good morning, good afternoon, good evening, depending where you are. My name is Jürgen Steinmetz, joining you from the Breaking News Show in Honolulu, Hawaii. And with me, as most of the time, is Dr. Peter Tarlow in College Station, Texas. And we have another Peter Maniz. He's joining us actually from New York. And we're going to introduce Peter in just a few minutes. But we always start with the weather. It's here in Honolulu. It's a nice, warm summer day. It looks like blue sky. Perfect way to go. Perfect day to go to the beach. How's everything in College Station? And then we can go to New York.
Well, we actually set world records, and all the national news covered us yesterday because the temperature hit 110. So normally it's hot in Texas, but this year it's not hot. It's boiling hot. So we also have great blue skies, just like Hawaii. Of course, in the middle of Texas, we don't have a beach. But today it's going to be a cool day. It'll only be 107 degrees with about 80% humidity. So it's like living in a boiling bottle of oil of Olay. And that's why our skin is so beautiful. People don't believe it when I tell them I'm 99 years old. Peter, how is it? I'm originally from New Jersey and New York. I was born in New York City. So how's my home? Are you in New York City or where are you?
I'm not actually, I live in New York City, but I'm not actually in New York City right now. I'm
That's
actually
my hometown.
I'm near New London, Connecticut. And was just on my way up actually to go visit our Boston station. I'm actually delivering a couple of things for them. So
how's the weather in New York?
Pardon me?
How is your weather in Connecticut or New York?
You know, it's beautiful, actually. It's a little hot, hotter than it has been, but a gorgeous blue day. You know, the ocean cools things down a little bit. So probably looks a little bit more like Hawaii than Texas right now.
And of course, Peter has...
when you say hot, what do you mean by hot?
Oh, it's probably 85, maybe.
If it got to
80,
85
82,
here,
85. Yeah.
I
bet you in the city, you know what? I'll bet you in New York City, it's a little warmer than that right now.
You know, if it got to 85 degrees here, we would declare a cold spell.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's 78 here, so we're still starting. So I guess it's cool in Hawaii. And of course, Peter has some beaches in New York. And not only that, he has a business that operates pretty much on the water. And it's quite fascinating. That's why I invited Peter to be part of our show today. He runs a seaplane service between New York and Boston. Tell us a little bit more about it. Why a seaplane? Who you guys go from Hudson River to?
Yeah, so I'm a co-founder here at Tailwind Air. We've been operating aircraft since 2014. We were founded in 2012. We run both scheduled and charter seaplane service all around the Northeast. We have another side of our company that manages individual owners' aircraft and charters them. Those are not all seaplanes. A lot of those are jets and turboprops. But our seaplane side is what I spend a lot of time on. We have 8 or 9 destinations that we fly to from both Manhattan and Boston Harbor. And then our core route that we've been working on for the last year plus now is a high frequency service between Manhattan and Boston Harbor that saves people a lot of time, bypasses airports, train stations, a lot of congestion, and operates into East 23rd Street in Manhattan on the East River, and then lands in Boston Harbor and drops people off at the Fan Pier Marina, as well as Rose Wharf, both in the seaport and financial districts of Boston.
So Peter, right now, having grown up in the New York area, I know that all 3 airports are very congested. And
Yes.
I used to commute between New York and Boston. It's about an hour flight. It took me 2 hours in the terminal at Newark Airport, and then another hour and a half to get out of Logan. So I assume that your service saves a lot of time. How are you doing as far as the big pilot shortage and employee shortage? Are you guys on time? Are you running? Because this is really valuable if you got to get to Boston.
Yeah, no, it's interesting. Seaplane pilots, commercial seaplane pilots, where an FAA 135 operator, DOT approved, all that regulatory stuff. Commercial seaplane pilots are a rare breed, but they love what they do. Obviously we've got a lot of cost pressures, but we are able to staff our aircraft. All of our aircraft are operated with 2 pilots on board. And we've got a lot of very experienced captains that have been flying, especially in the Northeast, specifically Manhattan, for many, many years. That side, we've been remarkably punctual and on schedule.
Something the major airlines cannot say right now.
Yeah, we don't deal with a lot of their stresses. I mean, our biggest limitation really as a seaplane operator are things that are inherent to seaplanes. Poor visibility does not allow us to land in the water. All the seaplanes we operate, notably, and people sometimes don't appreciate it, we operate the amphibious version of the Cessna Caravan, which is a very popular aircraft all around the world. Ours have both floats and wheels on them. So we do divert when weather doesn't allow it. We'll divert to local airports, whether that be Logan Airport or White Plains Airport or Teterboro in New York.
New Jersey, yeah. Teterboro.
It's I'm just curious. We had a local service here. We still have it on Mokuleia Airways in Hawaii, where people can go to Molokai or Lanai from Honolulu, and they can bypass TSA security because they're going from another airport, from a secondary airport here in Hawaii. And of course, there's some security. How do you guys work this on your airline?
So yeah, Mokulele also operates the Cessna Caravan. They just operate it with wheels. I know a little bit about that company. Their parent company is a company we work with closely. We operate under a section of the of FAA rulebook and the TSA rulebook with 9 or less passengers. We don't have to have the same infrastructure set up. We do screen our passengers in advance. We do positively identify our passengers, but there is no traditional airport style security because of the places we operate in and out of, where that would be impractical or not scalable.
So Peter, most people have never been on a seaplane. Why don't you let's say that I'd like to take my family on a seaplane trip from New York to Boston, or walk us through it. So now, how do you?
Sure. So you arrive. So let's say if you're starting in Manhattan, we're on East 23rd Street, which is about equal distance between Midtown and downtown. You would take you could walk or take a bus or take a short cab ride. Passengers only need to be there 10 minutes before departure time. Very different from a traditional airport.
How do you buy tickets? Do you have to buy them online? Do you buy them?
Yeah, so our tickets, you can buy them online. You can buy them by phone 24 hours a day. We also have an app, and they're also actually available in the global distribution system. So you can go to your favorite travel agent, and they could actually book if they
So
knew
you're
what they
part
were.
of the Sabre system, or
Yes.
so do
Yeah, so
travel
that's through
agents?
our that's through a codeshare partnership we have with Southern Airways Express. So
Okay.
if you're a travel agent, you would be looking for the Southern Airways code, even though it's
Okay.
actually operated by Tailwind Air.
So I have this
Oh.
ticket and I take it and I get to the port on 23rd Street. And then what do? Do you take me on
Yeah,
a
so
boat,
there's a
plane?
marina down there. We have dock staff that manage we have a small lounge that's comfortable for about 12 up to about 12 people. Although keep in mind we only have 8 seats on our plane, so there's always plenty of room. We offer light refreshment. We check you in briefly. We verify weight. We verify your name, your ID. We make sure you get on the right flight if we have multiple flights.
Oh.
And then when the time comes, our dock staff will walk you right down to the dock. The plane will be there. Hop on. Short taxi just out to the middle of the East River there where they take off. And depending on wind direction, you'll take off either to the north or to the south. Get a beautiful view of New York on your way in or out of the city. And then the aircraft proceeds directly to Boston. Takes
And
about
how long does it take to get to Boston?
Takes about 75 minutes. A little bit less sometimes. It's about 75 minutes in the air, or dock to dock.
So about an hour, 15 minutes. So it's
Yes,
not-
so it's slightly slower than a jet plane in terms of your time in the air. But keep in mind, companies like Delta, when they have a regular LaGuardia to Boston shuttle, they've probably factored in about 45 to 50 minutes of just
Yes.
dead time. Going through to dodging other, airplanes and waiting online to take off and all those kinds of things. We don't really experience any of those things on a typical day. And so ultimately, when you get off on the other side, in Boston, there's a small taxi boat that takes you from our footing dock over to our other lounge, which is at the Fan Pier in the Seaport District of Boston. And then you're walking distance to almost anything in downtown Boston.
Now, how much baggage are you allowed?
We allow up to 20 pounds of baggage. So we can occasionally allow for more if people make a special request and we have the flexibility. But we are more restrictive. Service is primarily designed around kind of short stay travel, whether that be business travel, whether that be 2 or 3 day or weekend excursion or something like that. It's really optimized for that kind of thing.
How much does it cost to fly?
Tickets on our Boston, New York service range from $395 to $795. That depends a little bit on bookings, advanced purchase, a number of other more traditional airline factors. Obviously, the later and more full your flight is, the higher the ticket will be.
And that's round trip, right? Or is it each way?
No, that's each way.
Wow. Wow.
So it is
it can be $800 each way, so it'd be $1,600 round trip.
It could be, yes. If you, that would be basically, the last seat on the plane, both ways on very short notice. So, but it also could be, under 700, under $800. It's a premium service. Our service competes against obviously the shuttles that are designed for business travel, as well as Acela. Last minute Acela tickets are often in the $300 range one way.
So what is Acela? Is that the train?
Acela is what Amtrak calls its fast train.
So you're competing against how long does the fast train take to Boston?
The fastest train between New York and Boston is 3 hours and 35 minutes, I believe.
So you're a lot faster than that train.
It's a lot faster. The service is really designed for a time-sensitive premium traveler.
Yeah.
Typically, our prices are between 1.5 and twice the fare of an Acela ticket or a shuttle ticket. At the last minute.
And are you usually booked?
We are. We're flying 7 days a week now, 3 times a day. We have some flights are very full, others are not. We have the capacity to add frequency as needed. We're actually the only company in the world allowed to land in Boston Harbor right now. So we have unique advantage. It certainly seems to be very popular with business travel, leisure travel, a lot more leisure travel than we would have thought. Some international tourists are trying our service, as a way to get between cities while they're on maybe on East Coast tour. It's basically a sightseeing trip as well. Our
Right.
aircraft are not pressurized; they fly low, so you're going up the entire eastern seaboard, as well as those two big cities, and seeing all from the air on the way in and out.
Does the pilot give a running commentary while you travel?
I think one or two of our guys like to point out certain features, but otherwise the windows are huge on those airplanes. A lot of it is relatively self-explanatory.
Yeah.
And since we have
Especially the
Peter
front end.
since we have Peter on the call, and we always discuss safety and security, we touched the check-in procedure, what seems to be a lot more relaxed, but equally efficient compared to the TSA requirements. What about operating these aircrafts in what type of weather can you fly? Are there certain conditions where you don't fly, and what do you do if you don't fly?
Yeah, so our aircraft there are limitations to seaplanes. Seaplanes cannot land in the water at night, so we don't operate into the water at night. They do have to have certain visibility minimums to land in the water during the day. So if there's a fog bank or clouds are excessively low, our pilots have to be able to see where they're going and see what's on the water, because there could be anything on the water. We share the water with boats, ferries, kayakers, you name it. Other than that, we don't operate our seaplane service from basically Christmas, around Christmas time, until the third week of March, and that's primarily limited due to icing. The aircraft are best not flying into known icing conditions, so we seasonally shut down the service.
You should move the planes to Texas. Then you won't have to worry about that.
Well, we do fly some of our seaplanes down to Florida area, and they do some flying down there, mostly serving the Caribbean, actually, from Florida, which is
Does it ever get too hot for the plane to take off?
Not really. I mean, certainly on very hot days, you may have a longer takeoff roll, or potentially even a slightly, lower allowance for weight. We have a full-time 24-hour dispatch center. Our pilots have all the weight and balance information that they need. We are extremely vigilant around weight and balance on the aircraft. It's really built into almost everything that we do, is ensuring all those things. I'm not a detailed enough Cessna Caravan pilot to tell you exactly what point we start taking a weight penalty, but it's extremely rare. I would say maybe 1 or 2 days a year we might have to reduce the total weight.
Hi, I'm Jonathan Welsh, travel editor for Flying Magazine, and today I'm traveling from New York to Boston with Tailwind Air, a seaplane service that recently began its first full season flying this route. Getting there quickly is the point with Tailwind, and our pilots, Holt Lindenberger and Adam Shevitz, met us on the dock and did everything for us except waste time. Within a few minutes, we were on board and on our way. After taxiing past tugboats, pushing barges, and other marine traffic, the Cessna Grand Caravan turned upriver and accelerated for takeoff. We quickly caught up with that barge. While the river's far wider than a typical runway, safely sharing space with boats demands a little extra attention. We're off the water quickly and soon passing buildings we normally see from the car on the FDR Drive. The skyscraper seems so close, and so does that 59th Street Bridge. Already I feel relieved to be watching the traffic from aloft instead of driving in it. If you've ever traveled between New York and Boston, or even just around either city, you know how challenging the traffic can be. Even looking down on jets as we pass over LaGuardia Airport reminds me of how difficult it can be, and time-consuming, just finding a commercial flight and getting to it. Being able to get on a seaplane right at the end of 23rd Street feels like a luxury. Someone living in Chelsea or another nearby neighborhood could easily walk to the plane and be in Boston in less than 90 minutes. While this might look like an urban twist on rough and ready bush flying, the actual flight experience is much like what you'd have on a large jet. My flight was smooth and steady with only the gentlest changes in altitude and direction. The flight is really just long enough to settle in and enjoy the views before the descent into Boston begins. Once on the water, we taxied to a floating dock where a shuttle boat picked us up for the short ride to the pier. And that's Boston, from New York, in an hour and 20 minutes. If I'd been driving, well, I might not even be in Connecticut yet. I had to get right back to New York, and within a few minutes we were off again. Flying direct, yes, but starting with a sweeping circuit of Boston's vast, wonderful waterfront. I didn't get that on my last airline flight out of Logan. This is Jonathan Welsh for Flying Magazine, and thank you for watching.
Now, since we have a lot of our listeners and readers, of course, are also overseas, and you mentioned tourists are using your service and business travelers, and you're connected to the GDS systems like Sabre. Do you guys pay a commission? There are only a few airlines left, I guess, that pay commission. Are you one of them?
Yeah, so we do offer commissions on seats sold through the GDS to travel agents. It's extremely rare for a domestic airline
Right.
to offer that. Yeah, we can set up commission fares for any travel agency that wants them. You know, we believe in that method of distributing our inventory.
I think you would probably love to get business from Germany, where the traditional way of selling tickets is still a reality, one of the few countries.
Look, I mean, I think one of our opportunities, and we're a small company, is certainly marketing our service to inbound tourists from Europe and Asia into New York area.
Again, your name slowly, and maybe just repeat a telephone number or something.
Well,
yeah,
we
so
can
my name
put
is
the website on there basically.
No, not your name.
my name is
company.
my name is Peter Manis,
Yes.
MANICE.
Yeah.
I'm the director of scheduled service and a co-founder here at Tailwind Air. Our website
So
is
the name of the company is Tailwind Air.
yes, and our website is flytailwind.com.
Okay.
And our phone number is 212-328-9145. And our reservations are open 24 hours a day.
And you get traditional New York hospitality.
Traditional New York hospitality. Actually, our call center is not in New York, not surprisingly, but yes, it is a New York number.
I'm just curious, what's the airport code for Hudson? How do you call it? New York Hudson Airport?
Yeah, so we have IATA codes for both New York and Boston. It's actually very important when searching for our flights. Many online travel agencies still don't. When you look for NYC, they still won't pull up our airport. Kayak now does, and a few others. The code in New York is NYS.
NYS. Okay.
NYS is in Sam, like New York Seaplane. And the code in Boston is BNH, Bravo November Hotel.
Wonderful. Well, it looks like it's a really nice alternative for both if you go on sightseeing or if you are in New York and you have a busy schedule going back and forth to Boston. Maybe take the train one end and fly back with you guys, or the other way around. Sounds like a
we
nice
have people. Yeah, we have frequent travelers now with us who it's a game changer for them. We're at least half. I mean, we're 50% faster than anything else by far.
Yes.
Perfect.
I used to commute between New York and Boston, and it was not an easy commute. So
No.
I would have been very happy to have had your seaplane service.
Yeah, I mean, we're bullish. We're planning to open New York to Washington D.C. soon. I can't talk about it in a lot of detail, but we see enough there to realize that there's a need for this kind of service, and we're excited.
Yes.
Well,
There's a lot of
for those that know Hawaii, we don't have a ferry service. Our ferry service here in Honolulu stopped when the super ferry was sued by environmental activists. I don't know how many years ago. So we really only have jet service between our islands. Would that be an alternative, or you couldn't land in the ocean? Is that different?
So it all depends. We'd have to look at it more closely. Our aircraft are great in water that is at least somewhat protected. Wide open ocean, obviously it can certainly land there, but if the conditions don't allow it, the swell and the waves could preclude you being able to use the ocean as you'd like. We do have a number of other areas we hope to expand to geographically in the United States. Hawaii hasn't been on that.
The Great Lakes would be a really interesting area.
Yeah. Where is this?
The Great Lakes.
Yes, that's on a short list.
Chicago, Milwaukee, Detroit, Cleveland, all those cities that are Great Lake cities.
Yep.
That would be.
Yep. And really and have great legacy infrastructure to do it. So we're excited about that. But there's a lot more we can do in the Northeast right now. So in the short term, you'll see us stick there. We also offer service that caters to a lot of beach traffic. We fly to 4 different destinations in the Hamptons. We fly also to Provincetown, Massachusetts. We hope to add numerous cities from both Boston and New York in the coming years.
I know there's some sea service it's very popular in the Bahamas. And I think there's also sea service between Florida and the Bahamas. There's also a market you guys are looking into?
Yes. Like I said, we send some airplanes down to Florida in the winter. They primarily do charter, but you could see a time when we would want to set up something scheduled.
Yeah. Do you have a service between Hyannis and Boston? Because that's such a
We do a lot of charter there right now, and we will likely set up a scheduled service. Some of it is just a matter of getting enough airplanes and being able to serve all the places that we'd like to serve. So
that is the longest route on the shortest way. I mean, it's by the way the Seagull goes, it's so close between Hyannis and Boston. But by a car, wow, it's a long.
On a summer Friday, everyone knows it, right?
Highway Route 3 on the Cape is truly a challenge.
We bypass all that stuff. Our Provincetown service has proven popular this summer, and that's the first time we served that. And I would think Hyannis, Nantucket, Martha's Vineyard, those kinds of places wouldn't be that far behind.
Yeah, exactly. Do you have any environmental issues? Do the environmentalists like you or dislike you, or are you a good guy or a bad guy or no guy? They just haven't thought about it.
I mean, certainly from a noise footprint, our aircraft are pretty quiet compared to a jet, right? Any type of jet, or sometimes we unfortunately get roped in with helicopters. It's a lot quieter than a helicopter. They're not silent. So we're careful to not oversaturate any particular area. We go through all the environmental reviews. From ecological perspective, our aircraft are single engine. They burn jet fuel. Some people think that we're burning leaded fuel or things like that. We don't do anything like that. Your overall ecological footprint when you fly from New York to Boston on our airplanes, and we haven't paid the right people to do all of it, but a kind of back of the envelope, if you look at the emissions from airports, from the jets themselves, from all the tugs, the baggage carts, everything else that goes into flying you commercially, and you look at what we do, the footprint is similar. You are not being much, it is relatively the same as getting on a commercial passenger jet.
Well, interesting information, Peter. Wish you all the best, and I think we're pretty much at the end of our show today.
Yeah, I would say just really quick, when it comes to that side too, we aim to be one of the first to use electric aircraft. They're coming to our market, regional aircraft.
Wow.
We've already announced partnerships with 2 different electric aircraft manufacturers. So you'll see us be leaders in innovating away from fossil fuels when the technology is ready.
Well, we should have another. We should have you as a
Yes, we
guest
should.
again when it comes to this.
Just make sure your batteries are well charged.
Of course.
Yeah,
of
I
course.
guess that's important. Maybe even have a backup. But well, thank you, Peter,
you.
so much for being a guest today on our show. And for those that are watching us and you missed some of it, just stay tuned. We're going to repeat this every 2 hours, like we always do, for 24 hours, and then you can see it on breakingnewsshow.com. And of course, you can watch it on all our channels, including eTober News, Aviation.travel, Meetings, Hawaii News Online, and in our foreign language editions overseas. Thank you again, and we hope and wish you well. And when I get to New York next time and have to go to Boston, I know who to call.
Exactly. Thank you, Jürgen, and thank you, Peter.
Thank you. You have a wonderful day. Enjoy Connecticut.
Bye-bye.
Aloha from here. Bye-bye.